The VQ zeros are my hero. That's what I always say. Zero is my hero. That comes from a Schoolhouse Rock song, if you don't know. But it's truly the case. The VQ zeros truly are heroes. Why? Well, because the zeros are all about protection. Step zero is I protect. We're talking about Venus in Scorpio. We're talking about obsession with protection. And because you are obsessed with the lines, that means you're kind of obsessed with playing with the lines, tempting with the line. When you're young, you might want to flirt with the lines, and you'll always want to flirt with the lines. In fact, the lines are what's sexy. It's not what's in the circle. It's not what's outside the circle. It's what's crossing the circle. That's what makes it a lot more fun. So the zeros truly are the ones that are pretty exciting lovers, pretty intense, right? You're either in or out of your circle when you are a VQ zero, or a zero VQ, I like to say, when your Venus is zero. Now, zero creates boundaries, and basically the maturity mark of a zero VQ is whether or not you can hold together your own boundaries. So you have those young zero VQs that are going out there trying to protect everyone and be there for everyone when you yourself are not watching the door, you yourself are not locking the door, you yourself are not checking to see if this is good or bad for your heart before you engage. So an immature zero VQ is a person that is going to be out trying to protect everyone else but themselves. Typical for human beings to try to do that, save someone else before themselves. So that's the maturity mark. The zero VQ tends to chase after danger and excitement. And this is due to the fact that you naturally protect others and you're really good at protecting others. So I see zero VQs dating stunt drivers, dating cops, dating astronauts. The zero VQs date presidents. They date kind of the risky candidate usually, the one that needs someone looking out for them. And they often are really turned on by, people with missing closed zeros. Now that's the danger, I have to say. Your focus is on protection, and you have to protect yourself first. You will draw in by nature people who are not good at protecting themselves, or people who used to be not good and learned how to. Now that's your ideal candidate, is someone who's gone through the I protect issues before, who dealt with zero energy before, maybe who has dated a zero VQ before, because you definitely cannot handle anyone that doesn't respect your zeros, your boundaries, where you draw your circles and where you protect things. So if this person doesn't understand that, it's going to be a huge problem. The emotional personality of a zero VQ is very hot and cold. Basically, if you're in the zero, which means you're in their circle, then you get like full access to the passion. And I tend to find that the zero VQs turn it on or turn it off. You'll find that you're either turned on or turned off by someone as well. It's hit or miss for the zero VQs. And then once it's open, it is open. So the personality kind of varies. I would say at large, most people would say a zero VQ comes off as cold. I would say most people would say a zero VQ comes off as sexy and mysterious as well. So that's kind of the emotional personality. Now, as far as defensiveness is concerned, zero VQs are overly defensive, I would say, by nature. Even when you are underprotected, you are overly defensive, I find. I find that whenever anything is questioned, or when you question anything with a zero VQ, their first response is to protect. So in the business of love, protection has to be in place first. You will never be a person that can make love to someone unless you've already had them disease tested, STD tested, or you are protected sexually. You're not going to be able to open up until you feel protected and know you are protected. So the defensiveness is very high and necessary for the zero VQs because it is the essence of what you do on the planet. The likeliness to commit for a zero VQ is extremely high. In fact, zero VQs go through periods in their life where they completely don't commit. Usually there's a bit of a kind of renegade period where they're running off and doing whatever they please and not caring at all about commitment or longevity. And then it almost flips like a coin. Suddenly then it's all about longevity. So a zero VQ needs to kind of go through that crazy spell where they're learning what they want inside the circle and what they want outside the circle. And you have to kind of define that not just in the type of person, but in the certain qualities of a person. I like this kind of quality in. I don't like this kind of quality close to my chest. And so these are things you have to go through before you decide whether or not you're going to commit. And once you do, you commit. Now, when it comes to zero VQs in bed, they're actually pretty kinky, and they bring a lot of mental energy and anxiety to the bedroom. So when it comes to lovers and connections for zero VQ, you definitely want to have someone that's intellectually smart and someone who can kind of provoke you. If you have zero in the first space, in other words, in the quotient of your VQ number, or of your VQ algorithm, I like to say, so it's 0, VQ, and then 0, or any number VQ 0. Well, a 0 in that place means that your Venus was born offline when you came to Earth, and as a result, you are learning to complete your 0, complete your protection. So you are learning the fundament of protection and the basis of protection when you have a 0 in this place. When you have a 0 in the next place, the final place, this only happens in 2 times in a VQ algorithm, and that is basically a 10 and a 20. So a 0 at this place means that you have to make sure that you protect yourself before leaping into any type of commitment. That's super important. It's also interesting to note that a 0 always adds 10 to any equation. So a lot of people, whether you're a 0 VQ, you have 0 this placement, or 0 this placement, I think it's probably backwards that way, no matter where the 0 happens to be placed, you always add 10 to that personality. So if they're a 10, you make them 100. If they're a 20, you make them a 200. And so the 0 placement is a powerful VQ because it really can be a multiplier to the person that they love. That comes from protecting them and being there for them on an intense level. And also another interesting secret superpower of the 0 VQs across the board is that they have the ability to go invisible. Because you have the ability to put up a boundary and not, you can really be mysterious. You can hide things super well. You're super good at detecting if someone's hiding something behind their 0 or not. And you have the ability to cloak yourself, particularly those people who have 0 in the second placement, so a 0 in the quotient. So the 0s are a fascinating group of people, and I love working with them. If you're in gavenus.com and I'm watching over you on a daily basis in our Venus network, my approach to the 0s is always to help you make sure that you're protected first. And so all of our playbooks and all of our activities deal with your protection. And then I do a lot of teaching in the program to help you understand the right type of MQ. In other words, the male quotient you should be attached to, or the MQ, and also how your 0s add up to other 0s. So in gavenus.com, where I'm watching over you for $19.95 a month, that's where we're going to talk about protecting you, and we're going to talk about the type of people you should choose on a daily basis. Thanks for clicking. So